to be, quote, right. But what I'm looking for when I read your papers is that you are thinking and you've got an idea and you're pushing it and you're testing it like a scientist. That the essay is kind of like the experimental method. Here is my hypothesis. Let me see if I can demonstrate it by examining these poems and performing thought experiments on them. And so it's not so much that you necessarily come up with a perfect idea. You're not going to do that. It's that you try, and in the process you discover things. So thoughtfulness and creativity are more important than parroting ideas. Look at that nice little metaphor stuck in there, right? Parroting, like a parrot. Ideas you lift from elsewhere. If you absolutely can't help yourself and consult outside sources, then you must cite them, in your essay. Even if you put the ideas in your own words, if you got the idea from somebody, you have to give them credit and put it in the works cited page. So another reason I would discourage this is because it's more work. As soon as you do that, you're responsible for anything you discover. So the best way to avoid that extra work and that danger is not to do that. So just use the material, the sources that we worked with as a class. That's my best recommendation. Okay. Questions so far?
Okay, so on the works cited, like say if you do, like you say, we have to do something from another student, do we have to cite that person? Like say I'm doing from 7, I'm gonna use what words, metaphor, whatever it was,
Yeah.
and I use somebody else's, do I have to put that person's name after it? How do you want us to cite that?
Yeah. I mean, if I were being really strict, you would put their name, and then you would even have them in the works cited, and you'd have to figure out how to do that, how to cite somebody from an online discussion post or something. But
So I can just say, like, if I used Marlinda's um what words metaphor, and I start saying, oh, in Melinda's what words metaphor, she said da 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 da. Do I have to put in parentheses? Can I just start it like that?
yes,
Marlinda's
yeah.
da 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 da. Can I do that?
In fact, you should, Harriet. One thing I want you guys to do, and I think I've commented on your papers and talked about it, and you'll see me talking about it again, I think, in the sample, peer review that I do, is to introduce your sources. There are kinds of writing like sociology and psychology and stuff where they often won't introduce sources. They'll just have a quote and then have the name in parentheses. But I don't think, and maybe if you go that route in your education, that's fine. But I think a good habit to get into at this stage is to introduce your source, tell us who they are, and maybe even why we care about them. So if we think back to the first essay, don't just put Labov at the end. Say William Labov, a psycholinguist who studied African American vernacular language in the early 70s, argues, and so you've introduced. We know who's talking. We know who they are, etc. In this case, for example, if you do Roger Brown, or something, you might say, you'd say Roger Brown in his article, What Words Are Metaphor, argues that, and then boom, you go like that. He's not a famous person, so maybe that's good enough. With Freud, you could say something like the psychologist Freud suggests that blah blah blah, and that's enough. So you don't even need to use his first name because he's so famous. We don't even often do that. I mean, you can. And then you would put that article in your works cited page, as we've talked about how to do, and as I've given you examples of. Same with that one. But what I'm saying is, if you quote like Marlinda, I'm not requiring you to put her in the works cited page at the end. It's good enough if you say Marlinda in her discussion of Roger Brown's article suggests that, boom, blah, blah, blah.
Okay, yeah, that's what I was getting at. That's what I was getting at.
It took me a
So
while. It took me a while to get there, but I wanted to go through all the, that again. So hopefully that clears up some things for other people as well. Other questions so far?
I have a question.
Yes.
I was watching one of your videos and you were talking about how to add the line, the page number and the line, but you weren't so sure in the video and you said you're gonna get back to it. I was wondering, did
Okay.
you figure out
Let,
how to do it?
I don't know if I want to spend time, our precious time right now in that. So I'm going to make a note of that, Marlinda, and and then look it up so to make sure I get it right.
We
I
can
think,
go in coffee. We can go in coffee and I can do it step by step for her if we don't have
yeah,
time right
yeah, well,
now.
all Marlinda is saying is that I had suggested with poetry, and this is true, you're writing on poetry, especially if it's a long poem, that including the line number is very useful. I don't know if I put line numbers in here for, no, I didn't here for the bonus poetry anthology. So don't even maybe worry about that. In fact, tell you what, Marlinda, I think I know these poems well enough. You can do without the line numbers, okay? Just put the page number. I know.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, let's just solve it that way. I think it's the right way to do it is, I think it's just L, and then the line number. Like you put the page number and then you'd have a space and you'd have the line, or maybe LL, like if it's 3 lines, LL, 17 through 19. But I don't think, you need to worry about that. I will probably talk next week about how to quote poetry more. You want to keep it in the lines, but I don't want to get on that right now. Remind me to make sure we do that next week once you've got a good draft, and you can find out how to do that in my writing resources if you want to look at that. I don't want to spend time on it now though. Let's see. Yeah. Anybody else? Okay. So, and I'm worried about, we're spending a lot of time on the technicalities. Whoops. Oh, I need to save it because I made a change, didn't I? Okay. Because what I want to jump into is actually doing some of this stuff, and seeing how, practicing. But so here's your discussion, which you can't see yet. So maybe I'm going to kind of go through this fairly quickly until we get to what I want to work on. And let me just give an overview. One thing, by the way, that's useful is, and I think I say this down at the bottom, is like, there's all this material here and it's kind of hard to see it all. I used to put in an attachment. You may even see me do that early in the semester. I'm not doing that so much anymore because I often make so many changes, that I have to keep correcting the attachment. So I think better is just to let you do it if you want to. So what you can do, if it's helpful, is select the whole thing, copy it, then, if you have a word, your word processing program or something, paste it in so that then you have the whole assignment where you can have it out next to where you're working on it, and you're not having to toggle back and forth between, and just maybe just a more user-friendly format, if that's helpful to you. Also, that way, you're not then subject to whether Canvas, blips out or you accidentally press the back button or whatever, you've got it there. And if you have a printer, what I would say is then print it up and have it out on your desk where you can get it out after it with your pen and stuff, and it's really easy to see. So not having access, one of the best things you could do if you could ever, I know it's a bit of money, but as a serious student in the coming years, you might want to invest in a printer because it allows you, there's so much that we read online, which I find not ideal. Being able to print certain key things, documents, I think is really useful. So anyway, that was just a suggestion. Okay. So again, I have kind of the deadlines here. I'm not going to go through those very, they're there. Again, though, be proactive about arranging with a peer reviewer. Some of you had trouble last time because you got a peer reviewer and they didn't do it or what have you. So what I'm saying is, be proactive, find people that are going to, do the work. And the sooner you get on it, sooner you make an arrangement with somebody, the better. Now, you and another person could each peer review each other's essay, but you don't have to do that. You could be peer reviewing somebody's essay and somebody else could be peer reviewing your essay. So there's no problem there. But yeah, you need to kind of take the bull by the horns on that. Oops, listen to me use that dead metaphor. Take the bull by the horns. Yeah, like I say, if you're having it, do message me, but get right on it with your classmate, be resourceful. Okay. So, and then again, this sounds complicated, but I'm just kind of repeating myself a lot, but watch the YouTube video, the lab, do the lab, review the basic requirements. We just did that. Submit your draft to both turn it in and here, and then do your peer review, okay? And then write a reply. Okay, so that's just, again, sort of repeating the main instructions. And then finally, this is why I want to make sure we go through this. The actual instructions for the peer review are down here. In fact, maybe that's all you would want to like cut and paste, so you don't have to flop through all that other stuff when you're doing it. In fact, just to model that, I'm going to do that right now. I'm just going to pull this out, the actual peer review instructions. I'm going to copy them. I'm going to open up a document, and I'm going to just, maybe I already have that here. Yeah. So let me actually just Control Command All. I'll delete that. Then I'll just save what I just pulled up or paste what I just pulled up, and boom, now I've just got the peer review instructions here. So, and it's similar to last time. Okay, I think I did this last time. Number your peer review instructions, and if you can do it right on a document, do so. If you can't, then key your comments, like number them. And again, I would not do it in Canvas at first. I would do it on a document. Like you could have the person's essay in one thing and then your document where you're writing your answers in the other. Because if you do it right on Canvas and you screw up, or Canvas goes back, or you don't save it or something, you're messed up. So it's better to do it offline, so to speak. By the way, if you use the cloud and you use please go ahead and download the document before you turn it in, and so that we don't have to use a link to try to get to it, either your classmate or me, because so many times that link is blocked, is locked. I can't get to it. I can't see it. So yeah, okay. 1, strongest passages. 2, basic requirements. I got them lettered here. Title, length, MLA format. Some reference to at least one of these. And, here it's yes or no. Here, not a good, no title. Well, maybe say, what if you call it this? Go ahead and give them a suggestion. I'm not going to get you for, I don't know, cheating if your peer comes up with a good title for your essay. You might still change it, but you guys can go ahead and brainstorm together titles. Poems, at least 4. And it's okay to say no, right? You only have 3, so you need to get 1 more. And it's okay to turn in knowing you're turning a draft that's not complete, because it's a draft. But turn it in anyway, and that maybe your peer reviewer is going to tell you that you don't have your works cited page yet. That, but still, this is good to get that feedback and make sure somebody's double checking your stuff. That's part of what this is about. Okay, and then 3. For some reason, 3. There's not a number there. I don't know what happened. Should be 3, I think, here. Claims and support. And I want you to do a 3A and 3B. Find one claim, quote it, and then say whether you find support for that. And then do it again. Bridges. I'm asking you to look at least 2 bridges.